I'd like to commence with an incident that occurred at the time of Umar ibn Khattāb radiallahu anhu, where there was an old man. He came forth complaining about his child. And he said, "O Amirul Mu'mineen, I have a child who is disobedient, I have a child who does this, I have a child who does that." And he said a whole list of things. And Umar ibn Khattāb radiallahu anhu listened to the old man and then called the boy, called the young child and tried to advise him, saying, "Do you know what? Your father is complaining about you and you need to fulfill the rights of your father. You need to fulfill the rights of your father." So the young boy says, "Can I ask a question?" And Umar ibn Khattāb radiallahu anhu says, "Yes, you can ask a question. What is it?" He says, "Do I not have any rights? What are my rights?" You know, nowadays people like to hear the word rights. What are my rights? I need to know my rights. So the young boy is asking, what are my rights? I'd like to know that. So Umar ibn Khattāb radiallahu anhu explained to the young boy what his rights were. And that is very interesting, because tonight we will all see a new dimension. Some of us may be knowing this incident. The first right that the child has is for the parent to select a good spouse. Subhanallah. So before the child ever came into existence, it was already the right of your unborn children, who were not even mentioned, that you had chosen a decent mother for them. That is something very deep. No religion goes into this depth. So it is the right of our children that we married somebody decent. One of the reasons is, obviously, when you have married someone decent, it becomes much easier for the child to then be brought up in a decent fashion, in a decent manner. Whereas when marriage was only for beauty, or it was only for wealth, or it was for the wrong reasons, for example, sometimes we can ask ourselves, what do you expect from this? If, for example, a man has married a woman who doesn't even know how to speak, who swears and shouts, then what type of behavior would that man expect his children to have? In order to remedy this, in the Sharia we are taught that it is the right of your unborn children, even prior to your marriage, it is the right of those who will be born to you, if you ever do have children, that you select a good spouse. And this is not only for men, but even for women. That is why a few days back, in one of my talks, I made mention of the fact that when you are selecting a spouse, in a nutshell, ask yourself, is this person fit to be the mother of my children? Is this person fit to be the father of my children? And I hope that the youngsters who are not yet married, young boys and girls, I hope we can take a lesson from this. We don't need to go for the next most beautiful woman. We don't need to go for the next most beautiful woman. But we rather go for a person who is beautiful from inside, and a person who is fit to be the parent of our children, meaning either the mother or the father. Like I said moments ago, the young boys who want to get married need to ask themselves, is this person that I'd like to marry fit to be the mother of my children? And in the case of a female, is this person fit to be the father of my children when she is selecting or she is deciding whether or not to marry someone? That is the first issue. So the fact that we have married correctly is already part and parcel The fact that we have married correctly is already part and parcel of the rights of the unborn child being meaning the unborn child being fulfilled. That is of utmost importance. The second issue mentioned by Umar ibn al-Khattāb radiallahu anhu, he says it was the right of your father to give you a good name, to name you with a brilliant name. These good names, obviously we have names that have a good meaning. We have names of the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We have names that are mentioned in the Quran. We have other names that really have a very, very good meaning, to the degree that you would be proud to call your child with that name. Is it that we still want to choose names that just sound Western? In my part of the world, people come and ask questions. Can I name my child this? Can I name my child that? And believe me, as the years are passing and as the world is progressing, we find Muslims wanting to stay away from Islamic names for whatever reasons. They are worried, my child must not be associated with Islam. May Allah protect us. Some people have that notion where they think that I'd rather name the child something which will sound more Western. And they will debate with you, why can't I name the child this and that? The reality is, it's the child's right that you choose a good name. Because at that age, the child has no understanding. You don't want the child to grow up cursing you, that you know, the name I've got is very bad. If any name has the possibility or probability of having a bad meaning in Islam, we are taught to abstain from it. When I say having a bad meaning, if it has a possibility of having a bad meaning in any language. For example, you might have an Arabic name which has a good meaning in Arabic, but in your native language, that name might sound like a swear word. It has happened. In some languages, you have an Arabic name, but it sounds very bad in our language. In that case, it would be the right of the child that you abstain from that name. Not because it has a bad meaning in Arabic, but because it has a bad meaning in other languages. And you wouldn't like the child, for example, you wouldn't like that child to grow up thinking and saying, why did my father name me with this name? So that is the second right that was mentioned. And the third right is, and Umar ibn al-Khattāb radiallahu anhu is telling this little boy, that as you grew up, the first things to be taught to you should have been the Quran. The first things to be taught to you should have been the Quran, the word of the Creator who created you. So the young boy looks and says, you know, Umar ibn al-Khattāb, you are Amirul Mu'mineen. I'd like to tell you my father has not fulfilled any of these rights of mine. And he only stopped at these three. Imagine if he had to go on and on. He says, firstly, he married someone off the street who had a very bad record. May Allah protect us. Very bad record. Secondly, he gave me such a terrible name. And up to now, I don't even know what the Quran is all about. There we are. So then Umar ibn al-Khattāb radiallahu anhu diverted the admonition to the father, saying, you are coming to complain about your child. You are the one who has not even fulfilled any of the rights of the child. And you are coming to say my child is disobedient and my child is this and my child is that. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect.